What's the best way for a filmmaker to generate revenue for themselves?
The indie business is a tough business. Don't get me wrong. It is a super tough business, and it's not getting any easier. So for an independent filmmaker, I mean, listen, probably the safest way to do it is to actually work for somebody else, to work on, like, if you could get hired on a Netflix production or something like that, and make a living, that's a good way to do it. But you're not making your own stuff. You're not choosing what you're going to make. So if you want to go down that indie route where you're going to choose it and direct it and decide, how everything, you want to be in the driver's seat, it's tough to make money. It's a tough business. And I feel it's a lot tougher now than when I started in it. And everybody says, yeah, but there's so much more being consumed and so many more outlets and so many more streaming companies. And now the world is the whole marketplace because it's digital. And that's true. Well, that's true. The problem is nobody wants to pay for anything. Everybody's so used to consuming everything for free. I mean, look at all the apps on your phone. How many apps do you pay for? I mean, think of the apps that you have, like Waze or Google. I mean, Google's going through a suit now, but I mean, think of the power of the computer that you have in the palm of your hand for nothing, for free. Yeah, you're paying for your cell signal, but I mean, so it's the same with movies and music. Music's even worse. I mean, everybody, and especially the younger generation, they're so used to not paying for anything. Nobody wants to pay for anything. Like it never occurred to me when I used to go to the movies and pay, $15 for my ticket and $12 for popcorn and a drink. That was a nice night out and I enjoyed it. I mean, you talk to young people about that. Are you crazy? Why would I do that when I can download it for free on my phone? So the problem with the industry and with a lot of artistic industries right now is that, and a lot of, technology-based industries, I mean, computer software being probably the leading one, is that it gets pirated so much and that really nobody wants to pay for anything. So it's really hard to monetize stuff now. You put it out there and hopefully people will respond to it and love it. But even then, they don't want to pay for it.
Yeah, and one of the things that was so enjoyable about going to the movies in the past was that people didn't have a phone. It's very distracting to be around it.
Yeah, I mean, that's another
I know, I
discussion. That's the
realize that. That's
distraction
not- but-
discussion. But the monetizing discussion is,
Sure.
even nobody ever blinked an eye going into a Blockbuster store and renting a title or buying a DVD. Nobody blinked. Today, it's unheard of. And I say to my kids, it's going to cost us $4.99 to stream this movie tonight. I say, are you kidding me? I'll just download it for free. I mean, every kid knows how to navigate the internet so well you can get anything you want.
Do you think it hurts that there's too much choice? I know that sounds like a really weird.
No, I call it dilution. There's too much dilution. I mean, it's just there's so much available now. I mean, just look at YouTube. The amount of content available on YouTube, it's 500 lifetimes worth of content, if not more, and growing every day by an extra 10 lifetimes every single day. We're bombarded by so much. Here's as one of my friends said it to me. He said, the good news about the worldwide digital economy and the internet is that you have access to the whole world. The bad news is you can't get anybody's attention anymore because it's so diluted. There's so much out there. So I do think it's great to have choice, obviously. But look at, I mean, I don't want to give my age away, but I grew up, I think we had 8 or 10 channels on our TV. Well, I have 600 channels now. I mean, I don't even get past the first 100. I have my favorites like everybody else, but how could you ever consume even a fraction of that, even know what's going on, I mean, let alone all the digital stuff, you're just bombarded by it.
And I wonder if it would deepen the experience of having less variety, just because then you're able to say, okay, this is it. This is in my niche. I don't have to worry about something where there's 20 more sort of like it.
Well, that's why marketing is so important, and that's why the big companies have an advantage, because they have the funds to spend to create the awareness. So the difference between, you know, one thing and another thing is that you know about this because you were advertised or you were made aware through some very expensive advertising campaign. So some indie film might be equally as good as a studio film, but nobody's ever going to know about it. That's the difference. So, and that's why, you know, a lot of services are still driven by advertising, because I guess it works, right? People still, you know, get affected by that.
Yeah, well, in the pandemic, during, you know, I mean, normally you would go to an art house theater and you would see different things on the marquee that you could look up and say, okay, this looks like a good one. Now it's great because these independent film trailers, they'll suggest a similar one. And so there's films that I see from a couple years ago that I had no idea existed. That
Yeah.
maybe they didn't make it to the front page of Netflix.
So let me ask you this. So are you happy? I mean, what they're doing basically, you know, is YouTube, let's use YouTube as an example. You know, we can use any of these digital sites, is profiling you.
Sure.
And
I
they're,
realize that.
yeah.
I have a footprint, yeah.
But you're happy with that because now they're recommending stuff to you that you wouldn't otherwise know about that.
I'm happy with that part, yeah.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah.
I actually am too.
Right,
People
right.
say, oh, your privacy is being invaded and everything like that. I say, yeah, it is. But you know what?
Yeah.
They're actually doing me a favor, and they're showing me things that I wouldn't otherwise discover.
Sure, yeah. They know that I'm going to like certain things. And yeah, now I get these ads for different things that it's like, oh wow, okay, yeah, I guess I am in that demographic. But
Yeah.
the movies the creative stuff I like.
So do I. Yeah, and you know, you're going to get bombarded with a lot of ads and stuff like that, and you know, and they're going to try to move you psychologically in a different direction.
Sure.
We all know about that stuff, which is not great. But there is the flip side where, you know, they're creating some convenience for you.
Yeah, and I do like that part. And there's some great indie trailers, and sometimes it's fun to just spend a night just watching a bunch of indie trailers.
Like going down that rabbit hole, one
Yeah.
to the next, and yeah, you'd never get there otherwise.
No. And you couldn't get and I did enjoy going to Blockbuster and trying to find some obscure film. I didn't want the ones that there were 20 of them
Yeah,
on one wall.
yeah.
But this there's more discovery here, I have to say.
Well, that's like an event. It's like walking down the back aisles of the Blockbuster store, seeing all the titles you've never looked at, picking them up. Now you just do it digitally.
Sure.
And not only that, you don't even have to move because they put it all in front of you, one after the other. They serve it up to you.